Lady She podcast. I'm your host, Lady She. I am excited on tonight because we have another author. Shout out to the sister authors out there who are doing it big, doing their thing. One thing I love to do is support. You know, they have a very negative saying that if you want to share information with a black person, you put it in a book. It's so offensive and disrespectful.
Right.
That is not true. We absolutely do read. So without further ado, I want you guys to give a round of applause or wherever you are at home, hopefully supporting, sending this link out to somebody to come on this live and hang out with us. The author of Scattered Thoughts, Memoirs, and Dreams of a Stiletto Queen, honey.
Sybille, Thebaud, Brierre.
Yeah, I love how that sounds. I said, I need you to say that because there's no way I'm butchering this name. That is, does it have a meaning?
Actually, my real name is Marie.
Wow.
Every Haitian girl's real name is Marie, but then they always add something else. So, you know, it changed. I mean, I'm telling you, my passport, I had to go through so much just to get a passport. Yes.
She said every
Haitian girl's name is Marie.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Well, no, welcome, Marie, and all that you just announced. But I love how both sound. How about that? Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to hear your story.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
And we started off on the good foot. I love to laugh, so that was good. So, Marie Sybille, who, if I ask you, who are you? What comes to mind first?
The first thing that always comes to mind that defines me, I'm an only child.
Oh.
Okay, so both my parents are deceased. So I'm an only child, left behind, spoiled, sheltered, spoiled in a good way. I wasn't rotten.
Okay, what's that mean? Because I feel like the word spoiled always has like a negative tone.
It does, but you know what? You have to also take ownership of it and turn it around. And that's what I'm doing. Because I remember being young, and as soon as people would meet me, they're like, oh, she's spoiled. And they just already, you know, spoiled means because you get everything. Like when you're an only child. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like you don't have to share, you know, that's the thing. So, but everybody, when I was little, people would be like, oh, she's spoiled. Because, you know, they automatically had that, you know, setup of
you.
And then
that's a judgment.
That's a judgment. And I think also I tried hard not to be that girl. But now I realize I am. But like I said, you could turn it around and own it and make it good. There's nothing wrong with being spoiled. And the most important thing I realize is spoiling yourself. Boom. That is the best thing.
Let's go.
Love that. You know?
Love that.
Because you know why? When you spoil yourself, the guy that comes in, he has to follow.
That means commend that thing. Okay?
Exactly.
Commend that thing in the beginning and you won't be struggling. I love to see it. I love to see it.
I love
so I wanted you to break down spoiled because in my brain, I remember I feel like I've never really, I always felt like the word, oh, she's spoiled, that came with them being rude. Now, kids getting everything, they don't know they're getting everything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But being rude about it is something different.
Right.
So that's what I feel people would always connect being spoiled to.
Absolutely.
Not just, you know, because your kids don't know what the dad won. They don't know they win Louis Vuitton.
Exactly. But spoiled for me back then, I didn't know anything about Louis Vuitton back then. I was a little kid. I mean, spoiled for me was Barbies.
Right.
Okay?
No, I was using that as an example.
Right.
Just saying the kids don't be knowing what's going on.
Right.
Their parents are just providing.
Exactly.
But I felt like the word spoiled always had like a negative connotation to it in reference to how they act. Like they were rude about having everything. You know, and it usually, a lot of times it usually comes from kids who did not have as much.
Right.
So they would just put that on you.
Right.
You know, just so they could just not like it.
Right.
But shout out to the spoiled kids.
Nothing wrong with it.
Shout out to the spoiled kids and the only children, okay? Shout out to them. So what was it like growing up? And you grew up here, correct?
Yes, I grew up in Hempstead. My father was a physician. Hempstead. Lawrence Road, Junior High. Even though I didn't go there, but I went to Catholic school because most Haitians, they always send their kids to Catholic school because one of the first cornerstone of being a good Haitian is a good education.
Listen, I definitely want to tap into that because I really want people to understand, you know, I love to learn, you know what I mean? You know, my kids are part Haitian. Their grandfather is Haitian.
Okay.
Like, La Bird is Alaska. It's definitely Haitian. So one of the things with some of the friends I grew up with, I always felt that definitely education was You had to be educated.
The form. Oh yeah.
But I also noticed things that would make me feel kind of sad.
Okay.
Like I remember having certain friends that, you know, when certain things would happen within the family dynamic, that it was like, that can't happen.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like getting pregnant before you're married, right? It was like devastation. Like, no, we gotta hurry to get you married. Even if it's somebody you don't like. And I've seen it, you know, cause serious issues. And then even like, you know, person I know that I love, you know, I watched go through a thing. It was like destruction in the family dynamics because she wanted to get a divorce.
Yeah.
And it was like, mama, like, you can't do that. And she's like, this man had a whole baby on me. And he do, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, the family was like, you don't get divorced.
Right.
And then she did.
Right.
And she was free.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, is that something with the culture? So I would love for you to tap into that.
Yeah.
And we want to, you know,
It's about, I feel like, I think that this is something universal. I think maybe not just with Haitians, maybe Caribbeans, Latinos, or even Africans. And I feel like it's about show.
Right.
You know, like for instance, with me, when I got pregnant and I wasn't married, which was the most devastating thing that happened because I came from a good family. I came from my father, like I said, he was a physician, and I was given everything. And, you know, everybody, all my parents' friends were like, how could you do this to your parents?
Like they would have never seen that coming.
Right? No, they would have never seen. And my mother, well, the first thing she was like, you have to marry him.
See?
And he was like, my boyfriend at the time, he was like, I don't have to.
Was he Haitian?
Mm-mm.
So even with that, was that a thing too? Because that was part of this other person too. He was just a black kid. So they were looking like, and then you don't stay in the, you know what I mean? They were like, girl, what? Like it was bad. It was bad. And I felt crazy. I was scared for her.
Yeah, it was like with him, it was not only the fact that he was, like he was half Trinidadian, half African, but he was more, he was a hood.
Okay.
He said it himself, self-explained, he was a hood.
Right.
And he was a rapper. Okay. I mean, come on. You get pregnant by a rapper, that's the worst thing to do. You know, as a Haitian, as a good Haitian, to have a rapper's
Not a good
baby.
Catholic school Haitian now.
Exactly. To have
you went with a gusto, huh?
to have a rapper's baby, exactly. It was that was number one. That was the number one thing. That was a big thing factor that, you know, the way he wasn't in school. He wasn't in college.
Now how old were you?
When I got pregnant, I was 20 years old.
Okay.
And
how'd you meet?
I met him through my friend, my best friend at the time. We went to school together. We grew up from like when we were 6 years old. And my father taught me how to drive. And he, you know, my friend was like, she came back from school because she went away to school for Atlanta for high school. And she came back and she was like, oh, come see me. And, you know, my father drove me with my mother. Like I drove in my car, my parents drove in their car, and I followed them. So I learned my way there. That's how protective they were of me. Wow. And my mother always said she regrets that day that they taught me that way because that's how all that happened. I would just go and hang there because I saw a bunch of, the guys were younger than me. That's the one thing. I was like 18 and they were like 15, 16 right. But they were, you know, I was in an all-girls school. You know, I was like,
you were like,
oh my God.
Like sheltered.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, guys that are into me, you know, guys. And, you know, and I met him through my best friend. Actually, I was talking to one of his friends and his friend turned out to be a loser.
Too much.
Loser a little, like it wasn't nothing good.
Right.
And then so, you know, to get back at his friend, my boyfriend at the time, he always wanted to talk to me. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, I guess I never paid it much thought or anything or took it seriously. Mm-hmm. And then one time, one thing led to another and then we became involved. And then, you know, he was into the Muslims back then, the Ansar, Allah.
So you were just kind of smitten. This was like total, because I'm in my brain, I'm like, you've been only child, Catholic school all your life. You have the one friend who just ends up exposing you to all these things.
Yes.
So you were kind of culture shocked like this.
Yes.
What else do you have?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm coming from an all-white school. Yeah. You know, I graduated from my high school. I was the only black.
Wow.
You know, in my class.
And what was that like? I mean, first of all, okay. All right. Haitian girl,
Mhm.
only child,
Mhm.
Catholic school, all through. One or maybe one of the few blacks, because you share which schools you can share with them, which
Yes.
schools you went to.
Our Lady of Mercy Academy in Syosset.
Okay.
And it's still,
Yes.
as far as I know, it's still like that.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
mostly, upper
Yeah.
class, more
Mhm.
white. Maybe it might be a little mixed more with like more, Middle Eastern.
Right.
But I know, as far as I know, it was mostly white. Mostly white.
So what was that like for a brown girl?
That was a shock. It was a big, big shock. It was like you didn't realize you was black until you got there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So what was like? Give us like one experience where you were like, I'm really the only black person. Like, whoa.
Well, the best example I have is when we had to read To Kill a Mockingbird. That all classic. Everybody always pushes,
Right.
You must read To Kill a Mockingbird. And I'm sure you read it, the N-word was in there. And they did not say, the N-word. They said the actual Nigga or Gger. And I'm right there. I'm right there, sitting there.
I just got chills. My chest just got tight. Woo! Wow.
And
So what did you say to your parents or anybody?
Well, this is the thing. I'm 15, 16 years old, I think. And you're like, you don't want to, like, my parents, they always, I love them dearly and everything. And, I have to give them credit for the fact that also, they're coming from a different country. So this was all different for them too.
Yeah.
They were always like, don't do anything that makes you stand out. Try and blend in. And in a way that kind of hurt too.
Well, it gave you in bondage behind that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that so people be clear. A lot of times, we try to give our parents a pass, but sometimes we got to call a spade a spade.
Exactly.
You put your kids in depression and bondage when you give them disclaimers in how to behave.
Right.
They can't be free in that.
Right. And let me just add, Haitian parents, particularly those of like the upper middle class, across the board, upper middle class, the most important thing is to have manners.
Right.
Manners is more important than defending yourself.
Wow.
You must have manners. You must say please, thank you, be sure. And another thing was too, at the time, my father used to say, you will show that you're not like what they see on TV.
That's that line too, yeah.
You will show them. You will be the example. And then, of course, when they were saying the N-word, I couldn't just get up and be like,
and who is that supposed to be?
Exactly, or get up and walk out. No, I'm not going to take this. I'm in this room and you're saying that. If this had happened now in 2022, do you know what an uproar there would be? Not even. If this had happened with my kids in the school that they went to, I would have been right there. I wouldn't tolerate. That has always stuck by me, that they had to say that word. Or not even just that. When I went to the Sweet 16 and the girl that was her birthday, her boyfriend was black. And everybody at the time, how could she date a black guy? And I'm right there.
Phew! My chest got tight again, child. Goodness! Because you gotta, in my brain, I'm just picturing myself sitting there, right? And them just reading this book and knowing that nothing can happen to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like nothing's going to happen to me.
Right.
So it was also an empowerment for them. Like the school's gonna back me up. Who's gonna really say something? Who's gonna care?
Right.
Using this word.
Right.
And that is something.
White privilege.
That is something.
White privilege.
That is something.
White privilege.
Ooh,
that's white privilege. I mean, the teacher came at the end and apologized, but like
at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the
lady, you're supposed to say, do not say that.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be speaking that before you even start reading the book.
Exactly.
Exactly. I don't deal with the underhanded after the fact. That doesn't count. That does not count.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
No, you know what? I realize now too, there was a lot of covert racism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was maybe like I'd say a medium amount of over, because they were, trying to repress and trying not to show anything, but it was a lot covert.
Yeah.
Covert racism, a lot. Like even now when I think about it, even your teachers could have been, my teachers could have been racist and I didn't even know it. They could have been,
Clearly.
Yeah.
You don't say
Exactly.
You win.
Exactly.
Y'all are in agreement.
Exactly.
That is,
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, like you said, 16 years old, now you meet this young man. Did you go to college?
I started college when I met him.
Okay.
And I knew, like, even though it was the path that I was supposed to do, I didn't want to go to college.
What was that?
To not go to college? Like, what did I want?
What were you taking up? So what you're saying is you went to college because your parents were basically telling you,
yes,
we go to college.
You go to college. Exactly.
Okay. What did your mom do?
My mom was a homemaker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But my mom always stressed that I get an education as a woman, because she was like, you do not want to end up relying on just a man by yourself.
Do you
So,
think she lived kind of in not like a regretful type thing? Did she have dreams and things?
Most definitely. I think she did. I think also the thing was that even though my father was a very, very good husband, he supported us very well. He, as a physician.
What does that look like when you said a very good husband?
As a physician, he had 3 different jobs as a physician. One job was to take care of myself and my mother. One job was for my college education. One job was for the house. 3, that's, to me, I feel like, and I'm gonna say it, a man should do what he has to support his family. And I'm not saying anything illegal. I'm not saying anything, crazy.
No, she's not saying anything.
No.
Why are you doing that up here?
But a man should do what he has to take care of his family.
So I emphasize and ask that question because once again, my brain, they're probably not hear me say it a lot. In my brain, when I think of a good husband, I think of, yes, a provider.
Yes.
But someone that is present in the home.
Right.
To his wife and to his child. So
Right.
that's why I asked. Because now, I'm thinking 3 jobs. When do you have time to, cultivate? When you have time to, bring some of that nurturing in, the fathering side of things.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to understand.
Right.
When you said that.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you do bring that up, because he wasn't around, and that's why I was able to get away.
Right. Because that's why when people say like do something that's like a switch is hit, I'm like, something had to happen that made you feel like, I'm going to try this now.
Yeah.
And even though I've been doing this whole time.
Right.
So his absence is kind of like what kind of opened the door a little bit as well.
Right. Because
Not
he was
really being on top.
He was a very strict disciplinarian.
Okay, so he was disciplinarian.
So yes, very, very. I mean, I'm coming from the culture of hitting. You know what I mean? And
we got whoopings, Jen.
yes, belts, bottles,
whatever was close by,
shoes, whatever. Exactly, combs and wet.
Right.
You coming out the shower and they hit you. That's the worst. That is the worst. But yeah,
right. I got you.
So I knew that, I could get away a little bit over my mother's head, but she knew too. Like if things went too far, she'd be like, "I'm calling your father." And I'm like, okay. I'm not doing it.
So now, 18, you meet this young man who's a rapper. He's not even in school, and now you're like, I don't want to be in school either. So then what happens?
Well, this is the thing. I tried to, try and bring him to my level, being like, oh, so are you going to school? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do? He's like, no, I don't need school. I know exactly what I'm doing, blah, 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 Yeah, I'm a rapper. I'm like, well, what is it? You didn't do good in school? Is that why you don't want to go? He's like, no, I did good and everything. It's just, I know this is what I want to do.
That was his passion.
That's his passion.
Right.
And that was the thing with me, is that I had no passion to go to college. Because even though I lied, I told everybody I wanted to be a communication arts major. I wanted to host my own TV show.
Yeah. Come on, speak it.
And, but I wasn't serious at the time. I just said that so that the people can get off my back.
Yeah, you're like, I got to give them something to my parents.
Exactly.
This is what I'm supposed to be saying. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So because like my friends that I grew up with, they were all going to school for medical, lawyer, nursing.
Yeah.
That was not for me. I always knew that was not.
Did you grow like close friends even in the school with the
little white
yeah
girl? I mean, I have some I talk to now because we've all, found each other on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't have anybody
like you were close.
No,
there was
no,
like
no.
one friend that befriended you and
Well, there was one girl I was really, really close with, and we did meet up again after I had my daughter, and then after I got married, and then had my second daughter. But she's like, I'd say she's a Trump supporter now. So exactly. So you just put that to the put that to the curb.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, she was okay with me. I didn't have any issues with her, but of course, I had to like stay away from them once I started dating my daughter's father, because with the Muslims, they saw white people at the time. They said white people were devils.
Like the devil shit. So what was that? Now, girl, go back a little bit. Yeah, go back a little bit. So, Catholic schoolgirl, you meet a rapper. Clearly, you're smitten.
Yeah.
He's Muslim. How did that go, and how did that blow over with your parents? They probably like, this child has lost her ever-loving mind. Like, I don't know what's going on now. What was that? Like, Dad must have been like, what is happening?
My mother was like,
oh yeah.
Well, you might as well just put on the white veil and just get it over with. Just get it over with.
Done.
And she predicted it, she manifested it, she was absolutely right, but she was like, just get it over with. And I used to, Catholic school girl, ultra Catholic, I want to say, because I had rosary beads in my car.
Mm-hmm.
I had a picture of Jesus on my dashboard, and my boyfriend at the time was like, take this picture off, of this white Jesus, and he put a picture of a black Jesus. And my mother saw that. She said, where did you get this demon? Get this demon off from the car like that. She was having
tight.
Yes, yeah, she was having a fit. She's like, no, and the thing and then that kind of infuriated me and made me want to go more, because I was like, why can't you see that Jesus could be black? That was the thing that got me, like, with them, was like, why are we so ready to believe that Jesus is, and all these people were Caucasians, And then when he showed me proof and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, this is making
you were
sense.
in.
Yeah, this is making some sense. And then also the thing with him also is like, he had his goal, he had his dream. I didn't have one. So I was like, let me hop on to his.
Gotcha.
And let me get with him. And, I was ready to have 7 kids and walk behind him. And
you were all the way in.
I was all the way in.
So then what happened?
We got into the, at first it was just something like cute and all, like to say we were Muslim, you had the pin, right, back in the day with the black, red, and green.
What is that?
You remember?
And he was Muslim, not 5%, right?
No, he was straight up
Muslim.
Ansar Allah, yeah.
Okay.
And then, at first it was cute and everything, and then also at the time everybody was talking like that on all the rappers.
The music,
they were like,
right.
Assalamu alaikum, and then it was like, okay, I'm in, I'm good. I'm finally in. I'm finally black. Finally, because back in the day, growing up, you were like
trying to find yourself.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I get it.
I'm finally black. But then it started getting extreme. It was like, okay, you can't wear certain clothes anymore, he would tell me.
Right.
And you guys can't see me, but anybody who knows me knows I love to wear my body conscious.
She's bad.
clothes.
I understand.
Thank you.
I would be the same way.
Thank you.
But she's gorgeous. Okay? Okay.
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I get that part. So you were probably like, time out, wait. Hold it.
Exactly. He was talking about wrapping my hair. I couldn't wear my hair out anymore. And back in the day, I had long hair. He was like, you can't wear your hair. Or he used to tell me, why do you have to relax your hair? Why don't you wet it and do the natural, natural stuff? He, slowly but surely.
And he was younger than you, talking like this?
I'm going to admit it out loud in front of you and in front of everyone. Yes, he was younger than me. Yes, I fell.
He was young and woke.
Yes.
He got her. He was like,
he got
listen,
me. He got me.
I'm just this age. He was beyond his years, it sounded like.
Exactly.
Wow.
He sounded so definite about what he wanted.
Right.
And I just didn't know what I wanted. So I was just like, okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times women don't realize they're even doing it. They're
Right.
even doing that. That's why it's so important to know who you are.
Right.
Because when you don't know who you are, you start doing stuff.
Exactly.
And some of the stuff can be, it can be scary. It can be definitely detrimental.
That's why I say, I
Wow.
specifically say, you gotta have a goal or a dream
Yes.
for yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't just jump into
Yeah.
what a guy is, you know? You
Right.
gotta have a goal or a dream
Yeah.
for yourself, you
Absolutely.
know? I think I saw something on YouTube, what is it? Like Beyonce said, yeah, she enjoys being, what was the advice Oprah asked her that you would give to somebody?
Does she like being a wife or
Wife,
something?
and then she goes,
you like
have to
being
have
the word
your-
wife or
yeah,
something like that?
Yeah, and she's like, you gotta have a life before you
Yes.
have your own life before you become
become a
someone's wife.
Yeah.
And that was the case. And I think
Yeah.
that's the case all around, not just about somebody's wife, somebody's girlfriend, somebody's significant other. You put yourself first.
Yes.
First and foremost, because when you look in the mirror, that's the only reflection that you should see. You should always, put yourself first.
Yes.
That is my one thing.
Love that. Love that.
Definitely.
All right, somebody.
Yes.
She helping somebody tonight because I'm telling you, it's a lot going on where you start seeing, you're like, and I always bring up Ciara and Russell that, we're going to move on.
Right.
The difference when she was with Future and when she was with Russell, she's so soft now.
Right.
She's so confident now.
Right.
She looked off being
Right.
with this other person.
Right.
'Cause he out there. Like,
Right.
he out there drinking all stuff. And now she's just kind of with him. I'm like, she don't even look right with this guy.
She was
and now seeing her
Yeah.
with this man
Yeah.
and a man of God.
Right.
She's totally different. She's so confident. She's so sure of herself.
Right.
And you can tell she feels safe with this person.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So please know who you are before you start jumping in relationships.
Exactly.
Thank
That's
you for
why.
that.
That's why I stress to young women, like, don't also try and find yourself booed up so fast.
Right.
Get to know who you
Get to
are.
know yourself.
Because that's the one thing I feel like I didn't do. I didn't know who I was. I was just so ready. I don't know, back then, it was just a big deal having a boyfriend.
Right.
I don't know if it's still the same way now because I'm not,
I think it is.
but get to know you. There's so many options for you as a
Absolutely.
young woman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I look back on the advice my grandmother gave me when I was in like high school. She's like, no, you need to date.
Yes.
And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because I always had a boyfriend.
Mhm.
And she's looking like, no, you mingle a little bit. And I'm like, what? Like I didn't, but I honestly wish I kind of would have.
Right.
Tested the waters a little here and there. I always had a boyfriend. I was always with someone until they did something dumb, and then I moved on. But I was always with somebody. Like
Right.
I've always been that way.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. All right. So now you go through this.
Mhm.
How do you get out of that?
Okay. Well,
Did you ever deal with abuse?
from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say definitely mental.
Mental, yeah.
Most definitely mental abuse. Physical. They were allowed to. I have to say they were allowed to hit us.
That's what I'm bringing.
Yeah, they were allowed to hit us. I mean, I can tell you with my friends because it was a whole group of us after.
Okay.
The girls that got involved, I did notice some like abuse and everything. Like there's a situation like they were trying to build us up to be virtuous women, so we couldn't curse or say things that were deemed unvirtual.
Okay.
And like if I said something that he found offensive, he'd flick my mouth like this.
Oh, not like a little kid. Oh no, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't make it to I would not last. Be very clear. What? Not the fuck?
Yeah. He'd be like, come here. And I'd go.
Not coming. You like knew it was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's different.
yeah. Because it was
It's
all-
like a bad joke where I
Yeah.
work too. When Muslims come in for
Mhm.
certain things, they would say, "Oh, that's not a real Muslim. The real Muslims come in for beating their wives." And I'm like, Dad, stop that. They're like, no, we know the real ones. And they were saying like, I'm like, y'all gotta chill out. They're like, no, for real. The real ones, that's what they in here for.
Yeah.
This other stuff, they faking.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Kind of.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They were allowed to. It was a big
It
thing.
was like normal.
It was like husbands can, do what you have to correct your wives.
To
if
correct
they're-
your wife.
Correct, right.
Right.
If they're not following the proper guidelines to be a proper
So it's
Muslim.
being like rebellious.
Yes, right.
Okay.
And at the time we ended up moving into because the religion at the time had different communities where
Right,
people
right,
lived,
right.
and it was men separated from women, and
So all the women stayed in one home,
Mhm.
even if you were married to the same husband.
Yes. And you had to ask permission. No, not only ask permission. You had to ask permission to have mate time, and and if you did good, like say for instance, if
Did
I
good? What's the good mean?
did good because as women you live together but you have duties. Some of you had to take care of
Okay.
kids. Some of you had to clean the house. Some of you had to cook.
Okay.
Some of you, so if you were
Everybody had like assignments.
Yes, if you were doing well in your assignments and he was doing well in his peddling, because I know you remember back in the day when they used to be at the
they
subway
go hard.
and
Right.
they go hard.
And they yelling and
Yeah. Oh sis, come here, you know,
Mhm.
and all that stuff. And if they brought a fat amount from their peddling,
Right.
then they could have the
It's
green
big
room
time.
time. Yes,
Wow.
green room time. Like you get to go to a motel because yes,
All right. We learned it tonight.
yeah.
Okay. So now you brought a child
Mhm.
into this.
Mhm.
So what was the transition like when you said, we gotta go?
She saved me. I have to say that. Getting pregnant, but she saved me because that's when I was like
And now how old are you at this time?
20.
20?
Okay. I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah, you like this ain't it.
This is not. No,
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I mean, sleeping on the on a mat on the floor. You feel I felt a mouse one time move under my arm.
That's what I'm out. Yep. Game over. I'm laughing, but I don't do rodents. That's what I am. Peace. What?
Roaches all over the toilet. All over
Wow.
the toilet.
Wow.
Roaches. Yeah.
So you want to pluck me in the mouth and got me with more roaches and mice? Sir, no.
I remember when I told my husband about this when we were dating, and I told him about this. He's like, "But don't you realize when you love somebody, you don't put them in a situation that they suffer? You know?"
Well, I just said it to somebody yesterday. What's the saying? Don't be so heavily bound that you're no earthly good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you so into the culture or the
Exactly.
religion that you're in, you're not seeing the natural, what's happening in the natural.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, she said when I was pregnant, I was like, I've got to go. I can't do this because I was.
So now, did you have to reach back out to your parents?
Yes.
So,
well, I was still talking to my mother, thank God, and my father, but they didn't. Like my father didn't know I was pregnant, but my mother at the time knew, and I was like, I can't.
You told her, or she like felt it?
No,
sometimes the mom knows.
I told her, and I was excited. I was happy, and she was like, "You gotta get married."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no, and then that's when she talked to him, and he was like, "I don't have to," and that was like the worst disrespect for her ever. That he was like, "I don't have to marry her." She
looked like, oh, you could knock my daughter up, but she ain't good enough for your hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was done with him then.
She was livid.
Yeah.
She was livid. She was livid. So yeah, and I reached out to her. I was like, please, I can't stay here. I have to go. I'm gonna go, I have to get out of here. And she said, okay, I'll talk to your father. And also I was communicating with my good friend at the time. She was a social worker, and she was really like, there.
I can help you.
Yeah, she was like, she was talking to my mother.
God for friendships.
Yeah, she was talking to my mother. She was like, if you want, I'll find some place. Maybe we can rent a room for her if, she can't come back, And my mother always said that she remembers specifically when she told my father. Like, she said, he just stood still for like a good 10 minutes and walked around and was like, she's got to get rid of it.
Oh!
And then my mom was like, I think it's too late because I was like 5 months pregnant. Yeah.
So no, that's really devastating.
Yeah.
Okay, so dad is like, but now it's too late. So then what?
So then I ended up on the phone with talking to her again because I was calling her every day because I've been living in this place now. I moved in there probably February of 1992, and this was probably July 1992. And I was there, and I was calling every day now in July. I was like, Mommy, I gotta go. Please, I'm crying. And then she was okay. Let me put your father. And then I'm crying on the phone, and my father, and I'm like, I'm pregnant. He's like, come home. When he said that, I was just like,
you like, you got it.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then, but it was still, even though he said come home, and
he think you coming home like to get rid of it and you can start your life.
Not only that, but it was like, for me, it was still mind games, because it wasn't like, okay, he said come home, let me pack my stuff and leave. I decided to orchestrate this whole scenario that my mother was sick and that I needed to go home because I was bound there by mind games.
Oh, wow. Right. So I really want her, I'm glad that she just said what she just said, because a lot of times when people see women in particular stay in toxic situations or things like that, they're always like, well, why she just such and such? Why she? When you're dealing with months and months of mental brainwashing and things of that nature, it doesn't just click like that.
Nope.
You know, that's why people need counseling.
Yeah.
People need, help.
Yeah.
They don't just come out of it.
No.
So
no.
Wow.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that easy. It was because they kept saying, if we leave, we're going to be corrupt by the world. That's what they kept saying.
Right.
And that was still in my head,
right.
Like, even though I was like, I know I gotta go, I was like, I don't want to, and my boyfriend at the time, he was like, you gotta stay. And I was like, and it's not like, he forced me or like twisted my arm.
Right.
He didn't do anything abusive to me.
It was just a teaching.
It was just mental. He was like, you gotta stay. And I was like telling him, and he, I feel like I was messed up in a way to put all this responsibility on such a young man. You know what I mean? And then let's be clear, he was what? 16, 17 rapper. I had a lot of nerve trying to make a 16, 17-year-old rapper a boyfriend, a husband, a father.
The energy he had was not, it had nothing really to do with his age though.
Yeah.
How he was operating.
Yeah.
Because if to me, and this is just me, this don't have to be a story, you can correct me. I feel like when certain people see certain individuals, they see their energy. So I almost feel like he saw you and he's like, she's older than me, but she's kind of easy prey because she's so green. She's so sheltered. So she's one I can shape and mold. So I know you're going with the age thing, but I'm not really going by that. I'm going by the mentality.
Right.
Because you can smell when somebody you can easily prey on somebody.
Right.
So I feel he had enough intellect to say, I can probably get her to, fall in line with what I got going on and A, B, and C and move her in and get my cake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I won't even go by the whole age thing.
Right.
Because to me, even the 18-year-olds I see now, they don't act 18. They don't. The 21-year-olds I see now don't act 21. They have the age, but the mentality is very, very warped.
Right.
So, I think it's an individual thing. So don't give yourself a little credit.
I'm coming from a 51-year-old perspective now, as opposed to an 18-year-old. A 51-year-old, like, girl, you thinking,
what are you doing?
Right.
No, I got that part.
Yeah.
All right. So now back at home, you don't have the option to have an abortion, even though dad's like, let's go. So now, what happens next? Is a thing where, okay, you're having this baby, now you need to get to school, you get you a placement, get your job. Well, how did that go? Because I know the parents is on you now.
It's about you having this baby. When people come over, go upstairs because I don't want nobody to see you.
Oh, it was still bondage. So you went from don't be yourself in school to now you made a hiccup and you still got rules to not be who.
Go upstairs. I have somebody coming over. I don't want them to see you. Go upstairs. We got to get you a wedding ring, so we got to pretend that you're married. I remember going to Macy's with my mother, buying one of those fake cheap rings so we could put on my hand. So because everybody's like, were you married? Yeah, I was married.
See?
I wasn't married.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I wasn't married, but yeah. Oh yeah. And then, the good things also were like, I got maternity real clothes. My mother was getting me clothes and everything. But at the time, it still didn't even register in my brain that what I was putting them through. And right. I understand where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
But you
want the best for your kids.
Yeah, you want the best for your kids, and then back in the day, what they used to go through, hearing about people who have kids who weren't married and everything. So I totally get it, and I understand. I remember having my sonogram, because at the time, I was going to Nassau County Medical Center.
Okay.
Because I was getting ready to have Medicaid back then.
Okay.
And so being online with your own urine and seeing other prisoners who are pregnant there too, and I was like,
oh yeah, you like this is my life right now.
Yeah. And then and I'd have my sonogram and stuff, and I'd be so happy and go show my parents, and my mother's like, slow your roll. Yeah. It's not something.
It's not happy balloons.
Exactly.
And cheesecake.
It's not happy. It's not, you don't show your father the sonogram, because it's like, the pregnancy wasn't real until the baby gets here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and back then I was still naive and like, I'm going to have a baby. It's going to be so wonderful. It's going to be great. And then it didn't really hit me until I was like 8 months. I'm going to have a baby.
I'm about to be a whole mother.
Exactly. I'm going to have a human being. And, and
did you have a baby shower?
My mom's family did a surprise baby shower for me. And it was very nice. It was the day before I went into labor, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was on Thanksgiving, and they were like, of course they said it's not something we want to celebrate really, but at the same time we welcome this little one coming in. Yeah, so they did like they got me some stuff and everything.
So no one was asking about you not being married or anything like that?
Well,
where he was.
Certain people knew, like my mother's family, they knew I wasn't married. Oh, my father's sister, she treated me with such disdain. She was very nasty to me. My father's little sister. She was there. And now, me and her are like this. Yeah. Because she's the only one that's been like with me since my dad.
It's the hurt. Yeah. She probably had to listen to her brother share, like he was thrown. Like my daughter is supposed to be a doctor right now, and she's telling me she's pregnant by somebody who's a rapper. Right. He's not her husband.
Exactly.
So the sister probably had to hear all the.
She treated, even after the baby was born, she treated me like, I remember I was working, because, I just had a baby. I was used to having a figure, and I'm not one of these people that when I have a baby, I'm like back down to a size 6.
Gotcha. So I don't get the snap back.
No, I was like 16, and I was like, I gotta work out, and I had lost weight.
You were self-conscious.
Yeah, I had lost weight when I was younger, because I used to do my own exercises at home, so I decided I would work out once the baby was sleeping. So I would wait till at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd run up and down the stairs. And I remember my aunt was there, and I guess I was running up and down the stairs, and I was making so much noise. And she was like, you don't think, do you? People are sleeping. And so she was like backlashing at me still. And then, but this is the thing, and I'm one person, I'm a stickler for this. Like, I hold grudges.
Really?
I can hold a grudge.
Is it a grudge or you just be done? Because there's a difference.
I'd say two.
To me, grudges is connected to like bitter and not over it.
Well, the thing is, I felt with her, like she was all like, after I had the baby and everything, I went back to school, and then I was doing well, and my mother would tell her, "Oh, I'm doing well, I'm doing this," and she could care less. She's not gonna do anything. Nothing's gonna work out for her. Watch, nothing's gonna. And then when everything started working, she was kissing my, and I was like, no. You what?
Like, keep that same energy.
Exactly. Like you wasn't there. You wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And then you're the only child, so you're like, you're my aunt. I needed you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No, I get that.
So, but yeah, it was a lot to deal with going home, to deal with that and that atmosphere. I mean, I had one of my father's very good friends. He came up and he saw me at my 9th month, and he said, "You ruined your life."
There was no holding back.
No mercy. No mercy.
He told me. All right, let's get to the book, child. Yeah. Good God. Okay. Wow. So now had your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. School. What did you take up?
Bachelor's in psychology.
Yes.
And a minor in Africana studies.
All right.
I had to do that.
So what brought that on? Because I see the excitement.
Because you know what? Like, you know when you go to college and they have all these requirements that you have to do that has nothing to do with your degree.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this minor and I'll do African. And when I did Africana studies, that's where I got most of my A's. That's where I got most of my A's. I mean, I always say this, like now that everybody, maybe things are different now and everything, that everybody's more or less in this woke state, you learn so much when you take a college class about Black history.
Trust.
You really learn so much.
Absolutely.
I
It
mean,
will change your life.
It does.
It
I
will
never
change
knew
your
nothing
life.
about Emmett Till
Mhm.
till I went to college. I didn't know anything about, I didn't know about the Haitian Revolution.
Mhm.
You would have thought that my parents would have taught me. I learned the most basic of the Haitian Revolution all from my college classes. Because I took Intro to the Caribbean classes, I took Religion of the Caribbean class. I took anything that had to do with Caribbean. You know? Yes, college. The one thing I will stress to anybody as a Black person, a Black young person, take a college course in Black history.
Love that.
Because you really learn everything.
No, that's the truth.
You really do. I mean, Martin Luther King is the stuff you're supposed to learn about. Abraham Lincoln.
So much out.
So much. And then when you find out about Abraham Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln was not really on our side when he tried to make
Come on in here.
You know?
Come on with the raw settle.
Okay? Okay? You know? So
what she said.
Exactly.
Go check it out for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You learn all this stuff. Like, it's crazy.
And what school did you go to?
At first I went to SUNY Farmingdale.
Oh, nice.
And I started off with liberal arts, and then I moved to Stony Brook.
Okay.
And Stony Brook opened my.
Excellent.
I love Stony Brook for that, for the Africana stuff.
So now, how old were you? How old was your daughter when you started college?
She was 1 year old.
That was right in.
That was a request. They said you gotta go to school.
Awesome.
After you have this baby.
Okay.
My mother was like, I will sacrifice my time and watch this child for you. But two things: you gotta get a job and you gotta go to school.
Love that.
So I was working part time, going to Farmingdale. But then as I started to do better in school, and my work became less of a priority. Yeah. It was more about get this degree. Yeah. So love that. Love
the turnaround in the story. Love the turnaround. So now parents are kicking in saying she's doing what she's supposed to do. So we're here to support her. She's going to do what she's supposed to do.
Right.
So now got your college degree. You get married. How did you meet your husband?
I met my husband at a barbecue, in like 5 minutes away from my house.
And now, how old are you at this time?
I want to say, was I 24?
So you didn't really date.
I mean, I did other things. I just didn't date. Yes.
We're going to get to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't date.
All right.
So my husband
at a barbecue.
Yes. He was the first person that actually took me on a real date. Yeah. He took me to a Haitian restaurant.
Is he Haitian?
Yes, he's Haitian.
And look, she went back to her. All right now. Look at how it turned back around.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I met him at a barbecue, and we ended up talking. We were like the last people there in the backyard because everybody had left.
Don't you love those? Those are the real ones. Those conversations. You even know you're sitting there for 2 hours. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And then he had a daughter as well, so that's what made it,
the transition.
Yeah, I have a child, you have a child, and we went from there, and we went from going out. I was seeing him, and I was seeing another guy at the same time, though, because I left the other. He would never look me in the eye. All the time when I would talk to him, he used to tell me,
what they call it, red flag.
Right?
Flag.
He never looked me in the eye. He's like, he was like, some girls are, you're too pretty. I can't look you in the eye. And I remember I told my cousin, he's like, that's a lie right there.
That is a lie.
He's like, that's a lie right
different.
there. Yeah.
Sir,
And
find something else.
exactly. Oh, and then the other thing that he did too also was like, he was tall because my husband is what you say. What does my friend call them again? Oh my God. I have it in the book already. Shoot, I can't believe I forgot the name. Okay. Well, my husband is 5'9". I'm
Okay.
5'7.5". And with these heels on, I'm towering over him.
Okay.
So the other guy I was talking to was 5'10". So, and that I love heels, and
Okay.
I wanted to be able to wear heels. So I remember I was trying on dresses with him, and then he was like, "Oh, that looks nice" and everything. And then one time we were talking about like presents on the phone or something, and then he was saying how he got me that dress, so now I have to get him something. And I was like, I don't have to get you anything. You decided to get the stuff on your own.
Another red flag.
Exactly. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you say that. Now I'm going to return the dress." I said, "You go
Not return the dress. Oh,
I
yeah,
said,
he was
"Go
a jerk.
return the dress."
Oh, he was a jerk.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Exactly.
Thank you, God. 'Cause
Exactly.
What the heck? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So now you find your mister,
Yes.
and you're like, this is it. So when did he propose? Like, when did it become like, we're together, we're doing this?
He kept talking about marriage.
He kept talking about it.
Yeah, he was 30, he was 29, 30.
Mhm.
I think men at that time, like once they hit the 30s kind of, maybe it might change. Some of them, yeah. Some of them.
They know, when they know, they know.
Exactly.
When they know, they know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you knew.
He kept talking about it. He kept saying it all the time, and then I was like trying, because my mother's always a pessimist, and she kind of made me a pessimist. So she's like, whenever he says that, don't jump up and
Don't
be like,
push.
yeah.
Don't push, right.
And I would be like, yeah, okay, well, if God wants it, we'll see and whatever. But yeah, he kept talking about it. So
Okay.
yes.
So you get married. You have another daughter. Oh, so what's that like?
Bringing the baby home to that situation, because it did affect my older daughter, because
Right.
she was the only one for
Right.
6 years.
Okay.
She was spoiled like me. She was spoiled like me. And the thing is, my mother did it even worse than me, because my mother always said that she didn't have a father, because she felt that she had
So
that
she wanted to
stigma.
overly.
Yes, so she overcompensated for that. So she said that because my mother only shared this with me, but she always said that my daughter was a bastard. She always said that.
She bad. When I tell you, it don't matter when people put words on you, when people put titles on you. It only matters what you think of yourself.
Right.
So I'm so glad that you're here to share your story.
Thank you.
Because wow,
Thank you.
wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
I mean, that was the first thing she said when her father came to see her. She said, "You see your bastard?"
I just got that chill. Woo! All right. So now the little mama is learning that she has to share mom,
Yeah.
and now she has a new dad.
A dad and a baby
So
sister.
what was that like? What do you feel was one of the things that you're thankful that you handled in a certain way when it came to her having to learn that this is our new family now?
I was thankful that I incorporated her with like every doctor visit, to make her see the baby, that she was, part of the baby's, essence. Like
Right.
she started in the same place too. I wanted her to, see that and learn from that and know that she was part of this unit. And then the fact that also at the time my husband was the one that, he saw her standing outside of our room, and he was like, "Come," and he made the baby lie next to her, and she lay between us, So I was grateful
love
for
that.
that. Yeah, I was grateful for that.
Right. I feel like you needed him.
I did.
I feel that.
At the time.
I feel like you needed him.
Yeah, I did.
For you to have someone to love you
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
For actually the real you.
Yes.
Not who somebody's telling you, no, just act like this right now.
Right. No. He knew from straight up. Like even now, he'll try and tell me when I get dressed, because I'm getting older now. So he'll be like, "That's not age appropriate." like I am very like when it comes to somebody telling me what to wear. I'm like, no, I went through that already. I'm not doing it again. I mean, now I do realize certain things. He says he is right. Like I won't wear. That's just me. I don't know about anybody else, but I won't wear certain things. But I do, you know.
Respectfully.
Yeah, respect. He'd be like, yeah, you know, that was 24 years. That's not 50 you now.
Come on, husband. Yeah. Come on, husband. Love it. So now, God sent you someone who's for you.
Yeah.
And embraces your daughter.
Right.
So, where did this transition come when you were like, you know what, I'm gonna write. I want people to know. I want to touch people. I want people to get some real, who may not know me. What's going on with this?
That started because I was fed up, angry, depressed. Because after being told from the time I was in the cradle to right before they even passed that a college degree guarantees success, I tell you, I went through hell and back when it came to getting a job with a master's degree.
Wow.
I could not get anything in my field or paying what I deserve.
Right.
Okay? Nothing. And at the time, that was the whole big thing for me. Because, you know, even though my husband and I, we've been married, we're going to be 25 years coming up. It's been up and down and around.
Marriages work, honey.
Yes.
Not for the weak.
No.
It's not for the weak.
No, it's not. We've been through a lot. And at the time, I realized that I wanted to have a certain life. Right. And I said, okay, in order to have this life, I need to get a master's degree.
Right.
And everybody was like, listening to everybody's society. After you get a psychology degree, you have to go back and get a master's in psych. But a master's in psych is useless, so you have to get a PhD. And I was like, I am not.
So let me ask you this. When you say society, because it's definitely society, do you think it's also connected to, and I'm saying we, there's such an influx of us getting our masters, getting our PhDs, and, having businesses. We're doing it right.
Right.
So do you also think that's also a part of the whole, when we start to do certain things, they push the pole a little further? So when it comes to first, you get your bachelor's, you're like, yeah, I got my bachelor's, I can get a job.
Right.
And then it becomes harder.
Right.
No. You can't get that particular job with just your bachelor's. You need to get your doctor. You need to get this. They keep pushing it as we continue to educate ourselves and do things. Do you think it was also part of that? Why it was harder for you to find a job in your field?
I think it's just times have changed.
Okay.
I really think maybe 40 years ago, or maybe even further, like 50 years ago, maybe it was worth something.
In your field, or just as a whole?
I think
education.
I'm talking about. I think in education.
In education
in general. I mean, unless you're a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, a teacher, and let's not forget the big thing now, computers. Unless you're like, what about the people who just have like liberal arts, or humanities?
Right.
Like, it doesn't really mean anything anymore. I really don't think so. I work in an employment staffing agency, and my boss deals with higher level jobs, and I heard him on the phone talking to a client, and he said, experience compared, what's a college degree compared to experience? It's nothing.
Yeah. And then the thing is, how do you get the experience of a college degree and get me in the door?
Thank you.
So it's like a hamster wheel.
Exactly.
You gotta look a lot, and that's why I say that a lot of times they say you gotta know somebody.
Yeah. It is. It's all about, what is it?
Yeah.
Nepotism. It's nepotism. It's nepotism. My mother would always say that. She was like, if you was in Haiti, you would be the director of a bank somewhere, because it's all about your education. But she's like, if Here, it's who you know.
Yeah,
it's who you know.
Unfortunately,
One
it is.
hand washes the other. Look at what I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring this up. Look at what the 45th did the other. He put his whole family in, right?
Mhm.
He put his whole family in. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way it
That's
is.
the way it is.
That's the thing we need to realize, I think, of people of color.
Yes.
We need to bring our
We
own.
have to be in place.
Yes, we have
Yeah.
to bring our own.
We have to be.
We have to bring
place.
our own. Exactly.
And that's the thing too, and this, you're praying and you hear God speak. A lot of things you're hearing now is about relationships, building connections with people.
Yes.
And stuff like this.
Yes.
You don't know if you're not in the midst, if you're not networking and things like that, you're gonna be mad, child.
Exactly.
So how did not being able to find a job affect the marriage?
It was terrible. It was terrible. I can't even. It was really.
And what does
bad.
he do?
He works in construction.
Oh, yes, he good.
He's doing better than me. He's doing better than me.
Shout out to the construction,
right?
The truckers out there.
Exactly.
Doing it, yeah.
He's doing better. Yeah, he's doing better than me. I mean, like, it was really bad because at that time.
Did he want you to work?
Yes, you're watching this, Harry, and I'm not gonna lie about anybody. He's one of those that wants you to. And that's the thing that I try and stress towards any young girl, not just my daughters. I always tell any young girl, if you get yourself a man, you get one that it's okay for you to work, not that you have to work.
Right.
It's it's
It's
okay. It's all right. Not because not working too is not a good thing, because then it's controlling. Because I remember during my long periods of unemployment, I would have to ask him, and he'd be like, "What for?"
Right.
And you don't want to. No woman wants to hear what for. Okay, nobody wants to hear what for. Okay.
Let me just say this too, though. For some it works. Some it just works.
Right.
Some is just like, okay, it's for okay.
Right.
And they don't have to.
Right. But when you're used to
it's
it,
a personality thing.
yeah. When you're used to having your own,
and
then
that.
you could do whatever you have to do and what have you. But yeah, so he's one of those that, and I mean, that's okay if that's what he likes, what have you. Okay, but at the time, I wasn't able to find work, and he had lost his job after 15 years.
Wow.
And they didn't give him anything. Like, they just,
It was just pink slip.
yeah, they just, that's the way they are. That happened to my dad. My dad was working in a hospital, and he was going to be there for I think 23 years, and then they got rid of him.
With nothing to show for it.
Nothing to show for it. And then that shows you as a physician too.
Right. You
Yeah.
saving lives. Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he wasn't working, I wasn't working, and it was terrible.
Those are the tests in your marriage.
It was
finances.
Yes.
What is it? Two of the highest things of divorce.
Yes.
Infidelity and your finances.
I totally understand that.
Wow.
I totally understand. And then it's just, seeing people, make moves and you can't do
And you
anything.
can't do anything.
It was, and then at the time, because unfortunately I still lived with my parents.
Right.
And I remember telling my parents, I was like, you see, you guys were wrong. And do you know what they said to me? They said, no, you studied the wrong thing. You should have been a nurse.
Ooh, yeah. Is that a cultural thing too?
Yes.
She rolled the eyes so bad.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Nurse? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Nurse? Everybody respects you as soon as you hear you're a nurse.
Yeah.
I mean, more power to it. Like my ex-manager, she left the job. But anyway, she was working at my job as our manager, and she went to school for nursing. And she was pregnant at the time. While she was in school, she did not quit because she said if she quit, she'd have to start all over again. But she loves it. I mean, she would talk to us about this stuff, and she loves it. So if you love it,
yes.
God bless you.
Please do what you love.
Do what you love.
Please do
Exactly.
what you love, people.
That's the thing. My father wanted me to, in a way, follow in his footsteps. If I didn't want to be a doctor, be a nurse. And he was right. Nurses are always in demand.
Yeah.
Nurses make 6 figures
Absolutely.
or more. Like if they do or even if they don't do overtime, you could support a whole household.
Right.
But that's not me.
Yeah.
That was
Right
never
now.
me.
That was never me, honey.
No, never me.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So.
So now you go through the little patch of not being able to, find employment. So then what?
Then I took whatever I could find, which is I feel like it's even worse than staying at home, because it's like you're working at this place being a collector, knowing, what you got, what you could be doing, what you could be making.
The work you put in.
The work you put in, exactly.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights. I remember like writing my thesis and not sleeping, and come on. And then this is what I'm doing, and then it's just, it took out all the like hope, I lost all hope. I said, wow, I can't believe I'm here.
Right.
How did this happen?
Right.
Because this is not what I was taught. And then not just that, the other people that I was, I grew up with, the girls that I grew up with who were, went to school, the kids, all of them, the guys, all of them, they were functioning just fine.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Nobody talks. Nobody says anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't reach out.
Right.
You don't want to be
Right.
begging.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Networking is not something Caribbeans like to do.
Wow.
No. They feel like it's you're like kissing somebody's butt.
Mm-hmm.
It's about,
And because I'm somebody too.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
I'm somebody too, and I don't want to,
I don't have to.
right.
Gotcha.
So they don't like that. They just feel like if you show the degree, that's it, and then they're supposed to automatically open the doors.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that.
Whew. Okay. So when did you get to the point where you found accountability and understanding? Okay, I went to school. It is what it is. I'm not getting what I need to, but I got to do what I have to do. And then where does the book come in?
The book came in because I've always been passionate about fashion. That's something I love I love it a lot. I love it, styling, putting clothes together. But my father told me it wasn't a serious career when I was a little girl. So
It's the words.
yes. So
Okay.
and then plus I wasn't that passionate. I figured okay. So I always wanted to start my own line, and I started a clothing line called Bombshell.
Ooh, love the name.
Thank you. And I had, I had put together a website. I was trying, this was what, 2016, 17. There was shipping and print, like, they do you put the design together and they ship it, all that stuff. I was doing all
So you
that.
had a manufacturer,
Right.
handling everything.
And everything, And I went to see somebody in Stony Brook, and I went to show them the shirt and to get an idea of what, I could do. And I was speaking to this lady, and then I was telling her, well, I have my master's degree and I'm making $35,000 a year. And she was like, no.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, go back. Not 35,000 a year, so?
Yeah.
Oh. Now living on Long Island.
Now living on Long Island.
Whew. Yeah, so some of you who don't know about Long Island, we live in like one of the most expensive places on in the country, right? No exaggeration.
Nope.
We live in one of the most expensive places in the country. And you said 35,000?
Yeah. As a customer service rep.
Okay, move on.
Yeah. So she was like, no. She's like, come here. And she introduced me to this Haitian guy who worked there. And then I started flowing with him, and I was telling him everything that I was going through. And then he was like, why don't you write something? Like, I always wanted to write. And then he was like, why don't you write this stuff down? And I wrote something down.
So he had you kind of journaling?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I submitted to him. And then we just kept going and adding layers and chapters, and voila. It started from anger.
See? Connections.
Yep. It started from anger.
Let your pain speak.
Yes.
Wow.
From anger. Yeah. It started from anger. It started from, everything.
Frustration.
Because at that point, both my parents were dead.
Your parents passed.
My dad passed in 2008. And
how old were your kids?
My daughter was 16, my oldest, and my youngest was 9. And my mother passed in 2010. And yeah. So my oldest was probably on the cusp of turning 18, and then my youngest was 12. So yeah, both of them passed. Left me with their house.
Okay.
With a bunch of debt.
Okay.
And then my daughter, she was extremely close to my mother, and
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, she just went ballistic, and she chose a bad path involving drugs, and she was off. And
I know what that's like.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like, how do I get to where I want to go? Because it just seemed
Keep
like
getting hit.
Yeah, you know, and I just kept writing.
So now your mom, no parents. So you're dealing with the devastation of losing your only beings, technically, because you're the only child.
Yeah.
You don't even have siblings to lean on to even understand your devastation of losing both of your parents. Then they leave behind debt. You have your husband, who's also a part of having to help with this, and now your children are devastated. And where are you mentally? Just functioning.
One thing I have to mention is, as people of color, we always try, especially women, we try to tackle that strong Black woman mentality, and I feel like that's killing us.
It's bondage.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with seeking help.
Absolutely.
And I got help from a Black professional because I feel like Black people
can relate.
Yes. So I got help from a Black professional right after my father passed, and it was from then on. I was seeing her for almost 8 years.
Wow.
And then I just abruptly stopped.
Okay.
You know, because I have nothing against therapy. Bless you. I have nothing against therapy. I have nothing against, seeking help and everything. But after some time, you do come to a realization that you have to deal with certain things.
Right. Thank you for saying that. That was real. Okay. So now, did your daughter get the help she needed?
No.
Okay.
My daughter fell in line with a young man, which this was something we never, ever thought could happen. She got involved with a young man who got her involved in prostitution and drugs.
So, how was your other daughter seeing that the big sister she probably should be able to go to because she's going through her own hurt losing her grandparents?
Yeah.
How was she taking all this?
It's so good you mentioned that. I remember, this was right after my mother passed. My mother must have passed a week or two before Halloween. I couldn't even take her trick-or-treating. My oldest took my youngest trick-or-treating. I was they were in bed. I was in bed, she was helping out, doing things for me. And then she's gone.
The abrupt.
Yeah, the abrupt.
So now the younger one is now dealing with grieving and then abandonment.
Yes.
Of her sister.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was she?
Well, now she's okay. Back then, we tried to continue as normal.
Right.
Tried not to miss a beat.
Did she ever get counseling?
She never, I don't think she did. At one point, you know what? My husband and I, we were going through a split. We did separate at one point, and I got her involved at school. They had this group called Banana Splits for kids that deal with parents that are divorced or separated.
Right.
That was the only time that she ever dealt with anything. But other than that, I don't think, she didn't get any counseling as far as I know.
That's kind of counseling. Sometimes you need to talk to a stranger.
Right.
Because, it's not connected to mom, it's not connected to anyone. They can just be themselves.
Right.
So my other thing is this, sometimes they say things come back around. Um, I'm thinking about your parents when they realized like you didn't go the route they wanted you to. You know what I mean? And then your daughter gets this devastation, and now she's going a route you didn't want her to go to. So how do you kick back into normalcy when dealing with something like that, or do you?
I mean, you just put it off to the side in a way. I mean, you do, you cry about it, you scream about it, you do it, of course, like when I first saw it, when everybody told me, when her friends told me, and they showed me the page and a picture of her selling herself, I'm like screaming and crying. I was on the phone with my husband,
Did she ever say anything?
She tried to deny, like at first, she just was like, I'm working. She tried to deny it.
No, I mean in reference to the boyfriend.
Oh, and to the boyfriend?
Like, is it something where he seemed like he was normal, he was coming around like a regular person?
He came around.
Or was it something where she was just hiding this whole thing?
From what I found letters from him from when he was in jail. So yeah, and she was writing.
That's when she met him? You can't tell.
I don't even know. But all I know is that she was writing somebody in jail.
Right.
In River.
Oh, in Suffolk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I never forget this. The first time he came, because he had left his car parked in front of our house for some reason. I don't know, something happened, and I'll never forget the first time he came to the door, and my husband was talking to him like anything, and it was
just regular,
but I always felt something. I was like,
energy.
I didn't like him.
Energy.
I didn't like him.
It doesn't lie.
I didn't like him. I mean, we didn't know he was a boyfriend at the time. We just thought he was a friend or something, but that's the guy that got her involved in the prostitution. Wow. So he pimped her out.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So now your marriage is dealing with devastation. You're saying you split for a little while. How did you guys come to a place where you said we need each other, we have to do this together, and still be a family? How did you get to that place? Was it something where you started going to church, or you heard from God, or what happened?
I wish it could be something like that, but it was just basically it was basically animal instinct. And then from there, it just, how these men are. As soon as you let them in, that's it. They think everything is good again. They think everything is good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what it was. Gotcha. And then, I mean, we do have genuine love for each other.
Yeah, you love each other.
Yeah, we
and
do.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Life happens, and I always say things go in waves. So if you can ride the wave, and it's worth it, man, do what you gotta do. Yeah. And I'm sure your daughter probably needs to see her parents together.
Yeah. I always tell her, I'm like, look, you should appreciate the fact you got pictures of your parents together when they were young. I wish I. She's like, well, leave me alone.
Okay, that's cool. So now, scattered thoughts, memoirs, and dreams of a stiletto queen. So, fashion, your story. What's next for you?
Well, I would like to use this book as a launching pad.
Love the cover. You guys gotta see it.
I did that myself.
On Amazon. I know you were telling me.
Yeah, I did that on my dining room table.
And
that's a nightgown, like a silk negligee that I
No, this is dope.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to use this book as a launching pad to, help young people, particularly who are unsure what to do when it comes to career-wise. Right. Because, you have so much people screaming, so many adults, people, your parents, I don't know, maybe your church, your teachers,
That's true.
telling you, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you have to go to college, you have to. And then there's nothing wrong with not going to college.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter, I was telling her, my youngest, about how I would like to use this to try and have either a platform or a foundation that focuses on pushing trade and vocational education. Right. And she's like, even in high school, when you're getting ready to graduate, people are like, oh, trade school, they look down on it,
They still do?
That's what she told me. That's what she told me. I mean, this was.
You know what? It's the what do you call? It's the environment as well.
Right.
You know, certain schools will look at it like, oh yeah, go do that. But certain ones are like, no, it's Ivy League from here.
Right.
So I get
Right.
that. So it depends on the dynamic. So I get that part.
Right.
I get that.
So yeah, she was saying like, yeah, they look down on it, and you know what? I was taught to look down on it too.
Right.
I mean, I had a cousin who went to LaGuardia Community College, and I remember telling some people that the people that I grew up with, and they started laughing. Airport college, you know, college is college. College is college.
Mind you,
Okay.
a lot of the top schools have the same professors working in these community colleges and things.
Thank
Be
you.
very clear.
Thank you.
Because yeah, I know
Thank
some
you.
that
Thank
worked at Nassau Community College and worked at Adelphi and Hofstra. So why you being ridiculous?
Let me tell
It's the
you,
same professions.
when I was
I'm serious.
No, I totally,
Same process.
I know. When I was going for my communication arts degree, I went to New York Institute of Technology. My father's best friend and my godfather, who is a physician as well, said, I'm so disappointed in you going to that Mickey Mouse college. Mickey Mouse, yeah. That Mickey Mouse school.
It's the viciousness.
Mm-hmm.
The words, please. Words have power.
Yeah,
Watch your words.
right.
You know, please talk to God before you say what you're saying. because no, these things, they linger. You know what I'm saying? They will linger in your spirit. You will believe what certain things people say to you.
Yeah,
And then you have triggers as an adult, and people are like, what is wrong with this child?
right.
And it's from something you may have just heard someone say that triggered from years ago.
Right,
When you did something that, in human nature,
exactly.
you know, because people make mistakes.
Exactly.
So please, people, watch your words. You know, speak it to people. Goodness. Good. I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's not for everyone.
No.
College is just not for everyone.
No, it's not.
There's nothing against
And there's nothing
It's just
wrong with
reality.
it. It's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. Especially nowadays, there's so many
much-
options.
so much
Not
to
that we had like
Mhm.
growing up,
That's
you
a
know.
fact. Social media has
Social
opened up a
media
lot.
has changed everything.
Mhm.
Everything. My oldest is a supreme makeup artist, and she's self-taught.
Mhm.
And we always tell her, if you could get yourself in a good rehab, get yourself together, we will put you into a school. You could go do makeup at MAC,
Yes.
Sephora, whatever.
Or just be on social media. The
And
right,
do-
the right
exactly.
celebrity can see you.
Exactly.
That's
I
how
mean,
it happens.
I told her, I'm like, you know, I remember my aunt, the one that used to treat me so mean. She was like, you know, because everybody knows what's going on now. She's like, oh, what's going on with her? Why doesn't she go back to school? I was like, listen, what about me? I went back to school. Look what happened. So
right.
let's not say that. And she was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're right. Now
See?
they're starting to come
Yeah.
to. I'm not
It's
telling.
different now.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
different.
telling my daughter, oh, go to rehab and then go to college.
Mhm.
No, go to rehab
And do what you
learn
love.
the makeup. You're
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good at that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I would like to, you know, really have a platform that really focuses on this, that pushes this. And at the same time, I also would like to help young women, because I feel like us Generation X people,
Mhm.
I feel like maybe they could relate to us still in a way, because you know, now when I think about when my mother used to tell me things, I was like, I can't relate to you, because look at how, you know, you don't like the same things I like. You don't like this, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I can't relate to you. I like, you know, I like rap music.
Mhm.
I also like Haitian music.
Right.
You know, I like Real Housewives of, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
But I've stopped watching
Mhm.
them lately. But
Right.
you know, but I like some reality things. I know
You like
some
I'm relatable.
Yeah, I'm relatable. So I feel like I can help young women to avoid the path that I went through, because not necessarily saying that you'll be wrapped up in a cult.
Right.
You could be wrapped up in something else.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And my
Your
thing,
family.
exactly.
Hello.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My thing is, I want to help build self-esteem, particularly for women of color, because we had so many things thrown at us to bring us down,
Absolutely.
and we have to build ourselves up.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Come on in here. Come on, Sybille. We gotta get this thing going. We gotta make this happen.
Yes.
So tell the people first of all where they can purchase your book
Okay.
and how they can contact you.
Okay.
And if they have ideas connected to what you want to do, they need to be able to reach you.
Okay, well, you can purchase my book on Amazon. Scattered Thoughts, Memoirs and Dreams of a Stiletto Queen. I can be reached on IG. My link, well, my Instagram, link is the Creole Bombshell. So it's THE and then Creole and Bombshell all together. And
not Crayola. Spell the whole thing out.
Creole is CREOLEBOMBSHELL.
Love the name. Love the name.
Creole Bombshell. Because I'm still working on Be a Bombshell. That's
all
not
right.
Something that
Listen,
I'm not.
Don't let it go to the wayside.
No. I'm not.
Don't be like Sheba Sharado. Okay, because we don't know.
But she finally came out.
Did she?
Finally came out. Yeah.
Is it a real
After
one?
Is
Is it a physical situation?
I don't know, but after 14 years, I was like, and that was such a nice name too. Sheba.
Loved it. I was like, I wish I'd have took the name because she was holding it for what? I could have said Sheba Shanice by now.
Exactly. It was nice.
No, I was messing with you.
It was
Seriously.
beautiful.
No,
yeah.
Do what you go back to what you started.
Yes. So
and that's even better, and that's more that you can share. Connected to this and to encourage the young women. Like, listen, I went through some stuff, but look where I am now.
Yeah.
So
I
need women to push each other.
I see better. Let's just put it this way.
Oh, I love that.
I see so much better. It's not. That's the one good thing I have to say.
That was a bar.
My mother taught me that. She's like, the way you see something at 20 is not the way you're going to see it. She said you change every year, and it's right.
So true.
She's so right. Like, I do see differently, and that's the one good thing I have taken from her. Right. Some things, some things.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. So if right now someone came on late, wanted support and they realized they missed it and they come on, what could you leave us with? Something positive, a scripture, a quote, something that, you want people to remember you by from this interview. What would you say? What would you leave us with?
I would leave with the one thing that my mother also taught me was, as long as there's life, there's hope. The only time you have no hope is when you're lying on that meat wagon with the thing wrapped around your big toe. That's the one thing she always stressed, and it's true. As long as there's life, there's hope. So as long as you're alive, you can do anything. You can change any direction or trajectory that you're in. You can do it. It's just you have to want to do it. And it is hard. Nobody's saying it's easy, but once you get on the path that you want to be on, the path that you're supposed to be on, it will feel so good.
Yeah. Love that. I don't know. I wanted you to tap into this real quick. Leave us with something connected to being a mom, right? Who was kind of counted out, really. Kind of counted out. And then now you had to go through some things with your own daughter. I know there's parents who had to deal with stuff like that with their children, trying to understand, where did I go wrong? Is it me or whatever? If you can, and then we'll close out.
No problem.
Speak to the heart of a mother who is dealing with something with their children.
Thank you. And I'm glad you brought that up. I also wanted, hopefully my book could also help mothers, fathers, anybody, grandparents who are dealing with a child who's struggling with addiction and sex trafficking. I would like to leave with this. I saw this today on Facebook, and it was regarding a child in trouble. And somebody said, I quote, we become who we become in life, sometimes because of our upbringing, and other times in spite of our upbringing.
Boom. Now that's real.
That's
100 right there.
Because
I felt that.
You know what? I want to say, I know people are going to blame me, and people have blamed me already. People have said, well, what is it that I did? Oh, you went and married somebody that's not her father. He treated her badly or whatever. You didn't care. You just went, and I know people are ready to blame me, but it's not. I didn't do anything.
Can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
People will always have something to say.
Of course.
You know your truth.
Yes, exactly.
You know your truth.
Exactly.
And let's be clear, parenthood is the toughest hood.
It is.
There's no manual to that thing.
No.
You understand me?
No.
So,
no. No.
Don't even worry about it.
And I just want to say that to people who are like, who have a child, whoever is, whatever they're into. It's not, you're not responsible. You could, I know they come through us to get life, but we can't live their lives for them. So
that's it right there.
you don't blame yourselves.
Yes.
Don't blame yourselves.
That's the
Don't blame yourselves.
Listen, don't blame yourself. Pray, continue, don't give up on your child.
No.
Do what it is you feel you need to do.
And be strong.
Yeah.
Be strong.
Absolutely.
It's hard. It is hard. I'm not
Life is
gonna lie.
Life
I'm
is
not
something.
gonna lie. I've closed the door. I've had to, because you know what? I think we had said this before. What is the thing that they teach you when you go on a plane and the thing comes down?
You have to cover
You
yourself
have to cover
first.
yourself
Yeah.
first.
That's
Every
it.
mother's first instinct is, let me do the child, but then you pass out.
Yeah.
You gotta take
Yes.
you into consideration first before you take the child.
That's it. That's it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you again. I'm so glad I was here.
Goodness.
Thank you.
I know you bless somebody because I
I
felt
hope
this.
I did.
I felt
I
this.
hope I
felt
did.
this.
I really
And please don't let your idea fall to the wayside about the trade.
No.
The trade in school and vocational school, because some people just don't always know what they want to do. So they get the exposure and people can tell them, "Oh, you good with your hands? Or are you good with this?"
Right.
They may know.
Right.
So please don't. Everything you shared today, my prayer is that you go forth.
Thank
stand
you.
boldly.
Thank
I thank
you.
you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Listen, everybody, say your name.
Sybille, Thebaud, Brierre, or Marie Sybille, Thebaud, Brierre. Oh my God.
Love it, love it, love
That's
it.
when I was in trouble. And be like, Marie Sybille. So,
Yes. Please, everybody, make sure you go to Amazon.com and purchase the book. You do not want to miss out on this read. You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? You do not want to miss out on this read. Listen, make sure you follow her, the Creole Bombshell,
yes.
on Instagram.
Yes.
One word. Any ideas you have connected to even helping her with her idea about the vocational schools or anything like that, tag somebody, share this live. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Let me just shout some people out that came to support you. I have a Michelle. I don't know if that's her real name.
Oh, Michelle.
I have a Taryn Coleman.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they've been commenting. They've been going in commenting. So thank you so much for your kindness. Make sure you subscribe to Hot Mic for Lady Chic Podcast on YouTube. And listen, let's continue to support Black authors. Okay,
Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl Magic. We out here doing it. Let's continue to support one another.
Yes.
Iron sharpens iron, ladies. We do not have to be clawing at each other.
No.
We can all win.
Yes.
So please, sir, please, ma'am, anything that she shared that she wants to do next, please contact her if you have any ideas. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. We gotta help each other out here, okay? It's for the betterment of our communities. So please, sir, please, ma'am, make sure you contact her for whatever question that you have, or you can contact me if you have any other questions connected to any of my guests I've had thus far. I am here, Hot Mic WLadyShe@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram. I always forget to share my Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram as well, Hot Mic Lady She _podcast. I also have my shirts company as well. She's got tees, one word. I'm wearing a shirt tonight. I also made myself a little tumbler.
All right.
So I'm promoting myself tonight. I always forget. And that's it, everybody. Be blessed. Laugh a lot. Heal. Get the counseling you need if you need help.
Yeah.
And listen, if you see something, say something. To the parent who may be going through something,
Yes.
or to your children.
Yes.
Listen, talk to God. Ask for directives. Make sure you understand when you've done all you can do. You've done all you can do. But continue to pray. All right, everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.